I dropped my bag, the clatter lost in the storm, and knelt beside her without a second thought, my hands trembling as I reached for the faucet. The water sputtered to life, warm and forgiving, and in that moment, as steam began to rise around us, I knew this wasn't just about helping her clean off the grime of another betrayal. It was the unraveling of everything we'd buried under years of friendship, platonic armor cracking under the weight of what we'd never dared to name. Lily and I had been inseparable since freshman year at UCLA, two California girls with dreams bigger than the Pacific. She was the artist, all wild auburn curls and paint-splattered jeans, sketching feverishly in coffee shops while quoting Frida Kahlo like scripture. I was the planner, the one with the color-coded planners and a journalism degree that got me freelance gigs chasing stories from LA to Lisbon. We'd bonded over late-night ramen and shared heartbreaks, hers always with guys who saw her fire as a threat, mine with the quiet ache of feeling invisible in a world that prized flash over depth. This trip to Spain was supposed to be our reset. 6 months ago, after her latest disaster with Jake, a smug tech bro from San Francisco who'd ghosted her mid-vacation, we'd scraped together savings for a sabbatical in Barcelona. No more American boys, she declared over margaritas on the flight over, her green eyes sparkling with that reckless hope I adored. Just us, the sea, and enough sangria to drown the memories. I'd laughed, clinking glasses, but deep down, I envied her ability to dive headfirst into chaos. Me? I played it safe, always the friend in the wings, holding the flashlight while she chased the spotlight. Barcelona welcomed us like an old lover, vibrant, unpredictable, alive with the scent of paella and the strum of street guitars. We rented a tiny flat in the Gothic Quarter, its wrought iron balconies overlooking narrow alleys where laundry fluttered like prayer flags. Mornings were for sketching in Park Güell, Lily's charcoal flying across pages as I sipped cortados and jotted notes for my travel blog. Afternoons melted into siestas, lazy hours tangled on the couch watching Almodovar films, her head on my shoulder, my fingers absently tracing patterns on her arm. It felt easy, natural, like breathing. But there were moments, stolen glances when she'd laugh too hard at my jokes or linger too long in a hug, that made my pulse stutter. I'd push them down, label them as sisterly affection. After all, she was straight as the Ramblas, or so she said. The first crack appeared on week 3, during La Mers Festival. Fireworks exploded over the harbor, casting kaleidoscopic lights on our faces as we danced through Placa Rail. Lily had been texting Jake nonstop, her phone a lifeline to the life she'd left behind. He's flying out next month, she announced one night, her cheeks flushed from kava. To surprise me. Isn't that romantic? I forced a smile, muttering something about long-distance miracles, but inside, a knot tightened. Jake was the third in a string of hymns, charming at first, then controlling, always whittling away at her confidence until she apologized for existing. I tried to warn her, gently at first, over churros at a hole-in-the-wall near La Boqueria. Lil, you deserve someone who sees you, not fixes you. She waved it off, eyes distant. You don't get it, Lon. You're so independent. Not everyone can be like that. The word stung, a subtle dig at my single status, but I swallowed it. That's what best friends do, hold space, even when it hurts. As summer deepened, so did the heat, both literal and otherwise. We'd escaped to the beach at Barceloneta, slathering on sunscreen and burying our toes in the sand. Lily would strip down to her bikini, fearless, while I hovered in board shorts, self-conscious about the scars from a childhood bike accident on my thigh. She'd tease me, come on, London, live a little. And pull me into the waves, her laughter echoing like bells. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, she linked her arm through mine, resting her head on my shoulder. I don't know what I'd do without you, she murmured, the Mediterranean lapping at our feet. My throat closed up, I mumbled something incoherent, blaming the salt air. Jake's arrival was a storm cloud on the horizon. He landed at El Prat with a bouquet of overpriced roses and a grin that screamed entitlement. Lily lit up like the Sagrada Familia at Christmas, dragging him to our flat for introductions. He shook my hand too firmly, eyeing the space like he was appraising real estate. Cozy setup, he said, but cramped for 3. I bit my tongue, offering him the pull-out couch while they commandeered the bedroom. For a week, our rhythm shattered. Mornings became awkward silences over coffee, evenings, forced dinners where Jake dominated conversations with Silicon Valley war stories. Lily shrank, her sketches gathering dust, her smiles dimming like forgotten embers. I retreated into work, pounding out articles on hidden tapas bars and gaudy ghosts, but the words blurred with resentment. One night, after they'd stumbled in from a club, Lily tipsy, Jake's arm possessive around her waist, I excused myself early. Lying in the dark, I heard them through the thin walls, his low murmurs, her soft protests. Not tonight, Jake. I'm tired. His laugh, as sharp as broken glass. Come on, babe. Loosen up. My fists clenched under the sheets. By morning, she had faint shadows under her eyes, waving off my concern with a joke about jet lag. The breaking point came during a day trip to Montserrat. We'd piled into a rented Fiat, Jake at the wheel, blasting his podcast on venture capital. Lily sat shotgun, fidgeting, while I scrolled through photos in the back. The monastery perched like a crown on jagged peaks, air crisp with pine and incense. As we wandered the basilica, Lily slipped away to light a candle, whispering prayers I couldn't hear. Jake cornered me by the funicular. She's been off since I got here, he said, voice low. You notice anything? Like, is she seeing someone else? I stared, incredulous. She's stressed, man. From the distance, from everything. He snorted. Yeah, well, tell her to get over it. We're solid. That night, back in the city, it erupted. We'd planned a quiet dinner at a seaside paella spot, but Jake had other ideas, drinks at a trendy rooftop bar in Izample, rubbing elbows with expat influencers. Lily begged off, citing a headache. I volunteered to walk her home. Jake waved us off with a wink. Don't wait up. The streets hummed with evening strollers, lanterns flickering like fireflies. Lily leaned on me, her steps unsteady. He's not like you think, she started, but I cut her off. Lil, he's exhausting you. I see it. She pulled away, eyes flashing. What do you know about it? You're always so perfect, London, never messy, never in love. It's easy for you. We argued under the shadow of a Gothic arch, voices rising until tears streaked her face. I love him, she insisted, but it sounded like a plea. I walked away, heart pounding, leaving her to the night. Hours later, the rain started, a freak autumn downpour that turned Barcelona's alleys into rivers. I paced our flat, phone silent, guilt gnawing at me. Then the door flew open and there she was, soaked, shattered, Jake's words spilling from her lips like venom. He'd confessed it all in a cab ride home, affairs back in the States, doubts about her artistic phase, a final ultimatum, shape up or ship out. She'd fled into the storm, straight to me. Now, in the bathroom's haze, I peeled off her sodden dress with careful hands, like unwrapping something sacred. She stood shivering, arms crossed over her chest, vulnerability etched in every line of her body. I'm sorry, she choked out as I guided her under the spray, the water cascading over us both. I'd stepped in fully clothed, unwilling to let her face it alone. For everything. For dragging you into this mess. Shoo, I murmured, lathering soap between my palms, working it gently over her shoulders. The steam wrapped us in a cocoon, the world outside fading to whispers. Her skin was warm, freckles like constellations I wanted to map forever. Our eyes met and something shifted, electric, inevitable. Her hand caught mine, halting the motion, and she stepped closer, forehead pressing to my collarbone. London. What if I've been wrong? About all of it. My breath hitched. The water drowned the thunder, but not the thunder in my chest. We stayed like that for what felt like eternities, the shower's rhythm a heartbeat sinking ours. Lily's confession hung in the air, fragile as the steam curling toward the vent. I tilted her chin up, my thumb brushing a tear track clean. Wrong how? I asked, voice barely above the spray, afraid of the answer but craving it all the same. She searched my face, green eyes stormy with revelation. About us. About why it always feels more. Her fingers tightened on my wrist, not pulling away but anchoring. The admission cracked open a floodgate. I saw it in the way her lips parted, the subtle lean into my space. But doubt flickered too, shadows of Jake's cruelty lingering. I thought it was just friendship, the kind that saves you. But tonight, when he tore me down, it was you I ran to. Always you. I turned off the water, the sudden silence amplifying our breaths. Wrapping her in a towel, soft Egyptian cotton we'd splurged on at El Corte Inglés, I led her to the bedroom, the storm outside now a steady patter against the shutters. We sat on the edge of the bed, knees touching, her hair dripping onto the duvet in dark rivulets. Lily, I started, heart a wild drum, I felt it too. For years. The way your laugh pulls me back from the edge, how I memorized the curve of your hand when you sleep on my shoulder during movies. But I buried it because you're you. And I'm just. She silenced me with a finger to my lips, a gesture so tender it stole my air. Just my everything, she finished, voice husky. Then, in a move that etched itself into my soul, she leaned in, not for a kiss, but to rest her head against mine, our temples fusing like puzzle pieces. We didn't speak, we didn't need to. The rain narrated our quiet revolution, washing away the old narratives we'd clung to. Morning broke with deceptive calm, sunlight slicing through the blinds like golden knives. Jake's text lit up Lily's phone, apologies laced with blame, promises of therapy if she'd commit. She deleted them one by one, her jaw set in a determination I'd rarely seen. Over Café con Leche on the balcony, overlooking the waking city, she laid it bare. I chose him because he was safe, predictable heartbreak over the unknown. But with you, it's terrifying. Real. I nodded, stirring my cup, the steam-carrying sense of fresh bread from the bakery below. Then let's be terrified together. No labels, no rush. Just us, figuring it out. Barcelona became our canvas those next weeks. We reclaimed the city, Jake's ghost fading like morning mist. Afternoons in the Picasso Museum, where Lily traced brushstrokes with reverence, her hand slipping into mine amid the crowds, casual, yet charged. Evenings wandering the Born district, sharing plates of patatas bravas and whispers about futures untethered from expectations. One night, under the stars at Tibidabo Amusement Park, she pulled me onto the Ferris wheel. As we crested the hill, the city sprawling like a jeweled map below, she turned to me. I love you, London. Not as a friend. As more. The words landed soft as confetti, and I met them with my own. I've loved you since that stupid freshman mixer. You're my horizon. Our first kiss happened there, suspended in the pod's sway, gentle, exploratory, tasting of cotton candy and sea salt. It wasn't fireworks, it was a hearth igniting, warm and sustaining. We laughed after, foreheads bumping, the world tilting back into place. But peace in paradise is fleeting. Jake, ever the opportunist, refused to vanish. A week later, an email arrived, not to Lily, but to me. He'd hacked her account, a forgotten, shared password from their early days, dredging up old messages. Screenshots flooded my inbox, my drunken confessions from a girl's trip to Napa 2 years back, buried in a thread about crushes. Tell her, or I will, his note read. She deserves to know what a backstabber looks like. Betrayal's blade twisted deep. Not just his violation, but the reminder of my own cowardice, those words I typed in vulnerability, then begged her to forget. Lily found me on the couch, laptop glowing accusatory in the dim light. Lon. What's wrong? Her voice pulled me from the spiral. I handed her the screen, throat tight. She scrolled, face paling, then crumpling. You felt this. And never said. I was scared, I admitted, standing to face her. Scared you'd pull away, that it'd ruin us. Jake's right, I'm the backstabber for hiding it. Tears welled, hot and unbidden. She crossed the room in 2 strides, cupping my face. No. He's the poison, twisting everything. You were protecting us. Protecting me. But doubt seated in her eyes, a fracture I couldn't ignore. That night, she slept on the couch, the space between us a chasm wider than the Atlantic. The conflict simmered, erupting during a weekend escape to Sidges, the gay-friendly coastal town an hour south. We'd planned it as healing, a rainbow flag parade, beachside paella, a chance to breathe. But Jake's shadow loomed. He'd posted cryptic Instagram stories from San Francisco, tagging Lily in "miss you" montages that her friends relayed. He's trying to manipulate you, I urged over lunch at a seaside cafe, waves crashing like unresolved arguments. She pushed her plate away, fork clattering. And you're not hiding how you felt. What if this, us, is just pity? Or worse, convenience? The words landed like slaps, each one echoing our deepest fears. I stood, chair scraping. Convenience. Lily, I've rearranged my life around you. If that's not enough, she cut me off, voice rising. It is. It was always enough. But now I don't know what's real. We stormed off separately, the promenade swallowing us in crowds of laughing couples. I wandered to the marina, salt wind stinging my eyes, replaying every moment, the shower's intimacy, the Ferris wheel's promise. Had I built a castle on sand? Hours later, as dusk painted the sky in bruised purples, my phone buzzed. A voice note from her, meet me at the beach. Please. Hard in my throat, I found her by the water's edge, shoes abandoned, toes digging into cool sand. She looked small against the vast sea, auburn hair whipped by the breeze. I'm sorry, she said as I approached, not meeting my eyes. Jake called. Said he'd expose everything, your messages, our trip. Make it look like I cheated. Rage flared, but she held up a hand. I told him we're done. For good. But it made me see. I'm the one who's been betraying us. Choosing fear over you. I sank beside her, the tide lapping our feet. We both have ghosts, I whispered. But we don't have to carry them alone. She turned then, hand finding mine, and in her gaze, I saw forgiveness, not just for me, but for herself. We sat until stars pricked the velvet sky, words unnecessary, the ocean absolving our silences. Back in Barcelona, the real storm brewed, not rain, but reckoning. Jake escalated, emailing her a farewell package, altered photos from our socials, captions implying infidelity, sent to mutual friends and her gallery back home. Whispers reached us via concerned calls, is everything okay? Lily's art show in LA teetered, sponsors pulling back amid the drama. She withdrew, sketching obsessively, her lines jagged with pain. I can't lose this, she confided one night, charcoal smudging her fingers black. Not because of him. Not because of us. I rallied, channeling my reporter's grit. Late nights poring over digital trails, I traced his IP, built a case, harassment, defamation. With a local lawyer's help, found via an expat forum, we filed a cease and desist, the paperwork a shield of legalese. But the emotional toll mounted, Lily's smiles grew forced, her touch hesitant. One evening, after a brutal voicemail from her mother, darling, is this phase over yet? She shattered. Curled on the kitchen floor amid shattered tile shards from a dropped plate, she wept. What if they're right? What if loving you means losing everything else? I knelt, gathering her close, the scent of garlic from our abandoned dinner lingering. Loving you means fighting for the everything that matters. Art, family, us, we redefine it together. She clung to me, sobs easing into shudders, and in that vulnerability, we forged a pact, no more hiding. We went public, subtle at first, a joint Instagram post from Montjuic, our silhouettes intertwined against the castle's glow, captioned, "Found my muse in the magic." The backlash came swift, Jake's allies unfriending, her conservative aunt radio silent, but so did the light, messages from old UCLA friends, about time, and a gallery owner emailing, "Your story inspires, let's talk exhibit." The climax crested during Dia de Todos los Santos, All Saints' Day, when the city veiled in marigold veils and candlelight. We'd lit our own vigil on the balcony, photos of lost loves, his for her, hers for the girl she'd ignored in college, flames dancing like defiant spirits. Jake's final assault arrived then, a live stream from a Bay Area bar, slurring accusations, painting Lily as the villain. Viewers spiked, hundreds, then thousands, as it went viral in our circles. We watched together, her hand in mine, knuckles white. When he faltered, mid-rant, a woman off camera, his latest fling, snatched the phone, exposing his hypocrisy in a tirade of her own. The stream cut, chaos ensuing online. By morning, apologies cascaded, his professional network crumbled under the weight of truth. In the aftermath, Lily turned to me, eyes clear as the post-storm sky. "He did us a favor. Forced the light in." We kissed then, slow and sure, the city awakening below, a symphony of possibility. Winter crept into Barcelona like a gentle thief, stripping the summer's blaze but leaving behind a clarity sharper than any heat. Leaves turned amber in the Eisample's plane trees, and we bundled into scarves, hers a knit from a Gracia market stall, mine borrowed from her closet, smelling faintly of her lavender shampoo. The betrayal's echoes lingered, but they no longer drowned out our song. Instead, they harmonized into something resilient, a ballad of two women who'd chosen each other over the easy unraveling. Lily's art bloomed in the fallout. The scandal, reframed as empowerment, caught the eye of a feminist collective in Poblenou. They offered her a solo show, veils lifted, exploring love's hidden facets through mixed media, charred canvases for burned bridges, mirrored shards for fractured selves, and at the center, a collaborative piece we'd made together. Over late nights in the flat, we'd worked side by side, me wielding the glue gun, her layering pigments with intention. "This is us," she'd say, pressing a feather-light stroke beside my clumsy collage. Messy, but whole. The opening night was electric, velvet ropes, clinking glasses of cava, murmurs of raw and revolutionary. As guests swirled, Lily pulled me aside, into a alcove strung with fairy lights. "You made this possible," she whispered, her lips brushing my temple. "My anchor." I shook my head, throat tight. "You're the storm that stirs it." We slipped away early, wandering the waterfront under a crescent moon, the W Hotel's sail-like silhouette glowing like a beacon. There, on a bench facing the dark sea, she did it, the thing I'll never forget. Not a grand gesture, but profound in its quiet power, she slid a small velvet box from her coat pocket, revealing not a ring, but a pair of intertwined silver bracelets, etched with coordinates, UCLA's quad for our start, Park Güell's mosaic bench for our spark, this very spot for our now. "Promises," she explained, fastening one around my wrist, then offering her arm for mine. "To wander, to weather, to always find our way back." Tears pricked, but they were the good kind, cathartic, like rain nourishing parched earth. I clasped it, the metal cool against my pulse, and pulled her close. To us, I toasted with an imaginary glass, our laughter mingling with the waves. It wasn't a proposal, it was a vow, unbound by tradition, rooted in the human mess of it all. Life wove forward, threads of drama giving way to the steady weave of romance. We extended our visas, turning the sabbatical into semi-permanence, me pitching stories to U.S. mags on expat love, her studio space rented in a sunlit warehouse by the port. Mornings became rituals, her brewing strong espresso while I journaled dreams aloud, our feet tangled under the table. We'd argue, of course, over whose turn it was to tackle the laundry pile or navigate La Rambla's pickpockets, but reconciliation was an art we'd mastered, sealed with apologies over gelato at Amarino, flavors shared from the same spoon. Challenges arose, human as heartbeats. Lily's family visited once, her mother eyeing our linked hands with pursed lips, father silent but kind in his discomfort. "We're happy for you, dear," Mom said eventually, over a strained lunch at tickets, "as long as it's real." Lily squeezed my thigh under the table, her reply steady, "It's the realest thing I've known." They left with tentative hugs, seeds of acceptance planted. My own calls home to LA were lighter. Mom, a bohemian yoga instructor, who'd always suspected, cheering via FaceTime with, "Knew it." Send pics of the sangria. The human element deepened in unexpected ways. We volunteered at a queer youth center in Raval, sharing stories with teens navigating their own unveilings, Lily leading art workshops, me facilitating writing circles. One girl, a wiry 16-year-old named Sophia with a buzz cut and defiant eyes, reminded me of us at that age, fierce, frightened, full of fire. After a session, she cornered Lily. "How'd you know to choose her over the noise?" Lily glanced at me across the room, her smile soft. "When the noise quiets, what's left is truth." Sophia nodded, sketching furiously, and later gifted us a drawing, two figures hand in hand against a stormy skyline, titled Horizons. Betrayal's scar tissue toughened us, but it didn't define. Jake faded to a footnote, a restraining order filed, his online rants buried under blocks and reports. Last we'd heard, he decamped to Austin, chasing crypto dreams, a cautionary tale in Lily's keynotes at local galleries. We'd toast to it occasionally, with elderflower gin and tonics on sultry evenings, clinking glasses to the villain who set us free. As spring bloomed, Azor perfuming the air from Valencia's borrowed blossoms, we planned a road trip up the Costa Brava, chasing hidden coves and cliffside villages. Packing the Fiat with sketchpads, swimsuits, and a cooler of jamon sandwiches, we hit the road at dawn, windows down, my indie playlist shuffling Bon Iver into Rosalia. Lily drove first, her free hand on my knee, humming off-key. Where to next, she'd ask at forks in the road, but we both knew, wherever the heart led. One evening in Cadaqués, Dolly's whitewashed haven, we hiked to a secluded beach, the Mediterranean a turquoise dream. Stripping to swimsuits, we plunged in, the cold shock yielding to buoyant joy. Surfacing, sputtering, she splashed me, laughter pealing. "Race you to the buoy," I called, stroking hard, but she caught me midway, wrapping legs around my waist in a playful tackle. We treaded water, faces inches apart, breaths mingling with sea spray. "I win," she declared, kissing me deeply, salt-sweet, endless. That night, in a cliffside posada with views of moonlit waves, we talked futures. Not grand schemes, but grounded ones, a joint application for an artist-in-residence in Andalusia, maybe a book, her illustrations, my words, on loving boldly across borders. "And kids," she ventured, tracing my bracelet. "Someday. With you." I nodded, envisioning it, tiny hands smudged with paint, bedtime stories of two moms who braved storms. The story doesn't end neatly, no bows on by kitsch or how etched in stone. Life in Spain, like anywhere, ebbs with its undercurrents, a gallery rejection that sends Lily spiraling, a homesick ache that pulls me westward. But in the quiet hours, when she sleeps curled against me, murmuring dreams in half Spanish, I remember the shower, the raw pivot where fear met grace. She did something unforgettable that night, chose vulnerability over armor, pulling me into her orbit not as savior, but equal. And in choosing her back, I found my own uncharted self, flawed, fierce, finally free. Barcelona, with its labyrinthine streets and unyielding light, taught us that love isn't a destination, but the map we draw together, one heartfelt line at a time. As the sun rises over the Balearics, gilding our world, I slip from bed to the balcony, coffee in hand, watching her silhouette stir. "Morning, love," she'll say, joining me, our bracelets clinking like chimes. And I'll reply, every time, the best kind.